And God Cried Too, a kid's book of healing and hope, written by Mark Gelman. And I'm Rabbi Jamie Arnold, and this is chapter 2. It's called Hazards Exist That Are Not Marked. Or, how can I go through life and not get hurt? It's freezing up here, Mikey said to Gabe as they stood at the top of a ski run on a snowy mountain. I need to teach you something, and this is the best place to teach it, said Gabe. Let's go. I'll meet you at the bottom of the mountain. Wait a minute, Mikey screamed. This is a very big mountain, and I'm a very small angel, Gabe. I'm a little scared. No, actually, I'm a lot scared. Don't worry. To get down the mountain, you just have to ski fast enough to keep moving, but not so fast that you miss the signs. That's the first lesson. Now, follow me and don't get lost. That's the second lesson. Follow me and don't get lost. Gabe shooshed down the mountain with Mikey following close behind and yelling, Yahoo-wee! Every time they went over a bump or around a corner. They went faster and faster and faster until suddenly, without warning, Mikey hit a tree root that was sticking out of the snow. And he fell and rolled down the slope, turning into a big snowball with a little angel in the middle of it. Wham! He came to a sudden stop as the angel snowball hit a tree. Ouch. Where am I? Who are you? What time is it? Mikey said, shaking his head and spitting snow out of his mouth. Gabe helped Mikey dig himself out of the snowball and find his skis, his hat, and his gloves. He wiped Mikey's nose, brushed him off, and sat him down on a rock. Didn't you see that sign at the top of the run? What sign? Asked Mikey sheepishly. There was a big yellow sign with red letters that said, Hazards exist that are not marked, said Gabe. What's a hazard? Asked Mikey. A hazard is a danger. A hazard is something that could hurt you. When it's not marked, it means that there is no warning. That's why they put the sign there. If you had read the sign, maybe you would have been able to avoid the tree root, and maybe not. And that's the point of today's lesson. You can't avoid all the hazards of life because most of them are not marked. I don't get it, said Mikey. What good is it to tell people that there are things ahead that could hurt them when there's nothing they can do about it? That's not fair. The only way to avoid all the hazards is never to ski, right? If you decide to ski, you will probably hit some unmarked hazard sometime, somewhere, and then wham, you get turned into an angel snowball. Exactly, said Gabe. That's the truth about skiing. It's also the truth about life. If you are going to live a good and full life and not just hide under your bed, there's always the chance that you'll get hurt along the way. I think I get it, Mikey interrupted. You have to be careful when you ski, but you can't expect to get down the mountain without ever falling. Sometimes you fall because you're just a klutz. Or maybe not because you're just a klutz, but because you hit an unmarked hazard. Right, said Gabe proudly. And when you do fall, what should you do? Just pick yourself up, wipe yourself off, and keep on going because there's a whole lot more mountain to see before you reach the bottom. I'm so proud of you, said Gabe. And remember that what is true about our skiing today is true about everyday life. Life, like the ride down the mountain, is so beautiful and so much fun that it is worth taking the ride. Of course, you must be careful. There are many hazards you can avoid if you don't live too fast or ski too fast. but you also must be brave because, I know, said Mikey, because hazards exist that are not marked. Gabe laughed and said yes. And just one more thing to remember. It's not just hazards that are not marked in skiing and in life. Blessings and beautiful things aren't always marked either. Huh? Said Mikey, puzzled. What do you mean? I mean that great things also exist that are not marked, like when you find a beautiful shell on the beach, or a new friend in a place you were not sure you wanted to go to, or a sunset that was perfect at just the time you looked. It's what makes the journey down the mountain and the journey through life so wonderful, even if you fall now and then. How about one more run down the mountain? Mikey pleaded. And so the two angels flew back to the top of the mountain and shooshed their way down, giving themselves to the laws of gravity and chance. Their course was like a big hug of the mountain. Each turn of their skis churned up new powdery deep snow that flew into the air and returned to the mountain in a shower of 1,000,000 frozen rainbows. So that's the story of their skiing adventure. Here's some things to think about. You can't go through life without getting hurt. It's sad, but true, because hazards exist that are not marked. Sometimes you might be going too fast or taking chances or not being careful, and you could get hurt. Sometimes you might even make good choices and get hurt anyway. There is just no way to live without getting hurt sometimes. But here is a great thing. Even though there will be times when you get hurt and you don't expect it, there will also be times when you are loved and don't expect it. There will be times when you meet a person who turns out to be your best friend, or maybe even your wife or husband, and you didn't expect it at all. The whole idea is just to keep skiing down the mountain. Just keep living and loving and doing good things and try not to worry too much. Life is a great adventure, mostly fun and only sometimes bumpy. Anyway, even the hurts and bumps of life are important because they make you stronger and braver and more careful and more loving. Complaining about how unfair life is whenever you hit an unmarked hazard doesn't get you very far. See what happens when you don't complain or just get going again. Chances are you'll find that a whole bunch of skiers will be following you down the mountain. Hopefully, your life won't be filled with too many unmarked hazards, but just remember, life is also filled with a zillion of those unmarked blessings. God gives those to us. It's our job to find them.